the age of the forest, where the spring water flows, in search of nirvana, that is where I would go. Watching life's little dramas with a calm repose, at the edge of the forest, that is where I would go. Let us practice the Dhamma in a silent heart, worry not of the future, gently let go the past. Sit in deep contemplation in one-pointedness, and in that soft moment there is just timelessness.
Shall I go for retreat for 3 days, 1 week, 1 month or more? That is the usual question that I used to ask myself, and I'm still asking the same question. But to some of you who are much wiser than me, your question could be, shouldn't I retreat completely and go forth? Well, these two are actually the objectives of SBS. It functions as a monastery for Buddhist monks, and secondly, it provides a retreat center for lay Buddhists like me to practice the Dhamma. A very good evening, dear brothers and sisters. My name is Bing Chun, and I am an office executive at SBS. We would like to extend our appreciation and gratitude to the Buddhist Gem Fellowship, BGF, for organizing this beneficial series. The benefit of knowing where to go for our next retreat is made much easier by all the information provided in this series. So for this evening, I will share this platform live together with Brother Adrian Bay, and also pre-recorded with Bante Agachita and Sister Wong Manwan. But before we go further, Let's enjoy the introduction video of SBS.
Sāsanārakkha Buddhist Sanctuary, SBS, is a sanctuary for Buddhist monks to deepen their knowledge, understanding, and practice of the Buddha's teachings. Under the auspices of the monastery Monk Training Center, the sanctuary dedicates its resources to groom ordained as well as prospective monks to become conscientious in the study and practice of the Dhamma Vinaya, and thereby help to perpetuate the Sāsana. SBS also provides a retreat center to realize its secondary objective, promoting the spiritual, mental, and physical health of its supporting community, thus reflecting a healthy Sangha laity interdependence.
At the edge of the forest, where the spring water flows, in search of nirvana, that is where I would go. Dear friends, brothers and sisters, this is where I work. That is my office, the one with the green roof. This building houses our office, a meditation hall, and also the dining hall. It is truly a blessing being able to serve the Sāsana through SBS. The beauty of this place is not just about the pristine forest where we are in, but more importantly, is the culture of the people who inspired this place and manage this place. They are conscientious and caring for the Sangha and fellow yogis. Welcome to your sanctuary. Yes, it is your sanctuary. It is here where we do hope you can be with yourself as you enjoy your retreat. What we have seen just now is a video overview of SBS. And later on, I'll be sharing with you about our retreat center, the type of retreats that we have and the facilities. I'll touch a bit about the Monk Training Center. And the next question, which is very important for many people, what are the meditation methods commonly taught at SBS? You will also be able to participate in a guided open mindfulness meditation by Bhante Agachita through a pre-recorded video. Also, the benefit of practicing open mindfulness meditation by Sister Wong Man Wan, a pre-recorded video. Later on, a live session with Brother Adrian Bay, where he will share with us the benefit of participating in a mindful hiking retreat. And lastly, our invitation to all of you. But firstly, a little bit about the program that we have at SBS. In SBS, we have different types of retreats, group retreat and personal retreat. Our group retreat is usually conducted by our in-house teachers, Bhante Agachita, Bhante Arya Dhammika, and Bhante Guttachita. All these events are announced through our news group. At the end of today's session, we will invite you to join our news group so that you can get updated information about SBS. What you see in this photograph is an example of a group retreat. This is called the Mindful Hiking Retreat. As the name suggests, it encompasses mindful and hiking. What I love personally about this retreat is that it incorporates the practice of metta, composure, mindfulness, and very important for me as a working person, inaction. I will not delve more into this program, but I'll leave it to Brother Adrian Bear to share with us the details later. Next, this is an example of another group retreat that we have. It's called the Mindful Awareness and Serenity Mass Retreat. Mindful, Sati, Awareness, Sampajanya, Serenity, Samatha. So for those of us who prefer not to do the hiking and prefer to listen, practice in the center, do join this retreat. This retreat is also one of the signature programs conducted by Bhante Agachita in SBS and in other centers. It combines Dhamma talk, discussion or interviews, self-practice at your own pace, because it combines both theory and practice. What I've shared just now are examples of group retreats. Now I will share example of personal retreats. Because to many of us, or some of us, the timing of the group retreat may not be suitable. So please come for your personal retreat. Now, SBS allocates 2 weeks per month for guided retreats. Our guiding teachers for such retreats are Sister Chua Ahua or Bhante Arya Dhammika in the event that Sister Chua is unavailable. And if Bhante Arya Dhammika is not available, he will ask his nominee monk to conduct the guided retreat. This type of retreat is beneficial for beginners and also irregular practitioners. How do we define irregular practitioners? You can ask the question later. So please, brothers and sisters, remember, guided retreat. If you cannot come for the group retreat, do join guided retreat. But to those who are self-motivated, please come for your self-retreat. This is available throughout the year. This is open to those who are self-motivated in practice and having more than 30 days of physical retreat experience, accumulated physical retreat experience. Then you can apply for this retreat. The duration is up to you, up to 2 months. Yeah, a few weeks to 2 months. This is beneficial for seasoned practitioners. So, brothers and sisters, what we have shared just now are examples of the retreat that we have, group retreat and personal retreat. Now, SBS is also a venue suitable for seminars and workshops. Over here, we have conducive setup with good sound system and lighting. It's not just the hall or the venue, but also the entire environment that supports the practice. This photograph shows an innovative seminar conducted by Bhante Agachita, How to Die a Good Death workshop. This is done as a series in several locations, and some of you may have actually attended similar workshop in your own location. Now, we also have program for children because young minds are to be nurtured and supported by the Dhamma too. We do hope they will grow up to be resilient and wholesome individuals. Now, this session in this photograph is actually held at TIMS, or the Taiping Insight Meditation Society. TIMS is actually the parent society of SBS, which means SBS is actually a special project under teens. This photograph shows Bhante Rahula enjoying himself, or rather the children enjoying themselves together with Bhante Rahula. This program is innovative, it's fun, and very important, relevant, and practical for the children. I would like to share a bit about conducive environment that we have at SBS. Over here in this photograph, you can see you have a choice of meditation areas. For those of us who prefer to practice in a building, we have the multi-purpose hall, the photograph shown at the bottom. But for those of us who prefer to be enveloped by nature, we have a pavilion by the edge of the forest. In this photograph, it is the Bhavana Grove Sala, or BGS. Lodging, the place where we rest, the place where we clean ourselves, the place where we stay. It has to be safe and cozy. This is the photograph of two of the dormitory that we have here. We have 4 dormitories. These are 2 of them. Farmhouse is the one at the bottom. FGL, ladies dormitory, the one on the right. And of course, for those who prefer individual lodging, you can opt for the kutis. This photograph shows the lodgings and how we arrange the beds. We have double deckers, but currently, due to the endemic phase of the pandemic, we only allow people to stay in 1 deck, which is the bottom rack. So basically, we reduce the number of retreatants to half. This is to ensure that you have enough physical distancing and safety. Mealtime, one of the most important agenda on a retreat. Now, what we have here is the photograph of the dedicated dining hall. It is brightly lit by natural light and it's very airy. It overlooks a valley with beautiful views. As you can see here, it is arranged for physical distancing as well, for your safety, so that our retreatants can dine with ease and comfort. And you can practice being mindful as part of the practice. So if you would like to come to SBS for your next retreat, it is very easy. Just log on to Sāsanārakkha.org, click on the button Retreat Center, and then you can see a description and details. For example, if you wish to go for guided retreat, just click on guided retreat and the description and details will appear. How about the application form? Well, it is also found within the paragraph of the description. It's as easy as that. But more importantly, this homepage has more information that can actually support our Dhamma practice. We have teachings and blogs. This contains an extensive collection of Dhamma talks in audio and video formats by our in-house speakers in English, Hokkien, and Mandarin. We also have uploaded articles and booklets in PDF format for you to download. What we have shared so far is about the retreat center, the types of retreat and programs that we have, the facilities that we provide at SBS, and how to register for your retreat. And now, to the first objective of SBS, support the Sangha. In SBS, we have the facility and the supportive teachers and community for you. For those who are interested to go forth, that is, becoming a monk, you may consider having your training at SBS. Perhaps we may never know when we are ready to go forth, but remember, SBS is ready for you. This is our homepage again. Just click on the monastery and you can read more about how to go forward at SBS. The training programs is also inside there. We have talked about retreat center, monk training center. And now the next question is about meditation methods commonly taught at SBS. As you can see here being listed, open mindfulness, Buddha Nusati, Metta, Anapanasati. Now, these are the methods commonly taught at SBS. Of course, every teacher that you see here in this photograph have their preferred methods. But please know that our teachers are well-versed in giving the yogis what is suitable for them. For most of the time, Bhante Akachita preferred to teach open mindfulness in his group retreats, but he also combined with Metta, Buddha Nusati. I will not delve more into the methods taught by Bhante Akachita. So what we do now is, we would like to invite everyone to spend about 13 minutes together with Bhante Akachita in a pre-recorded session in practicing open mindfulness meditation. Okay, so if you're ready, I'll start the video now. For the next 15 minutes, do follow through this practice.
The purpose of open mindfulness practice is to firstly compose the mind by anchoring it to the five senses. Secondly, to experientially verify the three characteristics of anicca, dukkha, and anatta. Thirdly, move on to experientially understand the causes and conditions behind the mind's response to all the six senses. And finally, to reduce suffering and increase contentment and happiness. However, for this guided open mindfulness practice, we can only cover the first purpose, which is to compose the mind. So, you may stand or you may sit as you like, but try to remain still and not move around. Okay, so please keep your eyes open. Maintain a straight posture, whether you are sitting or standing. And try to look at the screen. Because in this guided meditation, I'm going to show you videos, and there may be a certain change in the video which will serve as a very good opportunity for you to watch how the mind changes, to watch how the mind reacts or responds to what you perceive with your eyes and even hear with your ears. Okay, so please follow this basic instruction. Keep your eyes open. Maintain a straight posture and relax. Now ask yourself a simple question. If the mind is not lost in thoughts, daydreaming, and so forth, what can it be conscious of happening right now? The mind is by nature object dependent. If it's not thinking, not imagining, not daydreaming, what else can it be aware of? What else can it be conscious of? But what's happening at the five senses. In order for us to be able to observe the mind effectively, we should first of all try to anchor the mind to the five senses. Otherwise, you will most likely get caught up in your ruminations, thinking, imagination, daydreaming, and so forth before you even realize it. So anchor your mind to the five senses. Ask yourself, what can the mind be mindful of happening right now? Once don't stay there, ask yourself, what else? And move on to the next sense object. For instance, after hearing the sound, then you might look at the screen. After looking at the screen, then you might come back to be aware of your bodily sensations. If there are any thoughts or comments about what you observe or perceive through the senses, notice it immediately. Don't proliferate, and then come back to the senses. Take it easy. Don't force yourself. Don't try to notice every single sense object one after another. Free and easy, touch and go. Allow the mind to pick up whatever it can, and then just move on at your own pace. Not too long, not too short. Remember to notice whatever comments are going on in your mind. Don't get caught up in them. Notice, then come back to your senses. What else? Remember, don't proliferate. Observe. Come back to your senses. Free and easy, touch and go at the five senses. Take it easy. Be content with whatever the mind can pick up at the senses. Touch and go. Once you're aware or mindful of something, ask yourself, what else? And move on to another sense object. There's no lack of sense objects. It's not like as though you have to focus just on the in-breath and the out-breath, or the rising and the falling. Your five senses are alive all the time. You can just move from one sense to another. At the same time, keeping an eye on how the mind is responding or reacting to what is being perceived at the senses, and also within itself. How is the mind reacting to a comment that it has observed? Free and easy, touch and go is a rule of thumb for keeping the mind anchored at the five senses. When it comes to the sixth sense, we have another rule of thumb, which is Ada anchor. Accept all things, don't reject, don't follow, don't ignore. Acknowledge them and anchor yourself to the five senses. So for this session, basically we are just trying to anchor the mind to the five senses to get a good degree of composure.
Brothers and sisters, what we have just participated just now is the practice of open mindfulness meditation, commonly taught by Bhante Agachita. Probably some of us are composed right now through the practice. To practice more, please come over or join Bhante Agachita in his next retreat. Many people have gone through such practices. And now let's hear from one of them, a regular practitioner, a Sister Wong Man Wan. This is another recording, so please listen. And later on, you may ask your questions to Sister Man Wan later. She will be here to answer your questions.
Hello, I'm Manwan from Shah Alam. I'd like to share with you my experience in meditation. I took up meditation about 30 years ago out of desperation. About that time, my now deceased husband decided to move back to Butterworth because his father had just passed away and he felt he needed to be near his family. However, as a daughter-in-law, I'm expected to be subservient without question. When I could not meet with that expectation, there were big family dramas which left me defensive and depressed. And when I looked at my life ahead at that time, all I could see was darkness and despair. Bhante Suvano of Buddhist Hermitage, Lunas, taught me the Mahasi method. I also practiced under a few Burmese sayadaws. However, I practiced with the impression that the method was the end rather than the means. After 17 years, I had good concentration but not much wisdom. Then in 2008, I moved down to PJ, where I met Venerable Popitiya Kassapa of Sri Lanka. He taught me Anapanasati and the Four Elements meditation. I could catch glimpses of anicca and anatta, but I could not understand their standing in the process of awakening. When he suddenly passed away in 2016, I found myself without a teacher again. A childhood friend told me about the meditation retreats in Sāsanārakkha. When I joined the first one in 2018, I could not catch on. For the first 5 days, my mind was struggling between open mindfulness and focused mindfulness. And for the first time, I encountered the words object-oriented and subject-oriented. It was a steep learning curve. Fortunately, On the second last day of the retreat, during the Dhamma talk given by Ayasma Agachita, everything clicks into place. By the end of the talk, I was grinning from ear to ear, but inwardly, of course. By the fourth retreat, the three characteristics and the causes and conditions were deeply rooted in my mind. And with plenty of self-practice, I now find that my mindset and behavior have started to change. Now I'm no longer sensitive to criticism and can take them with a smile. After all, there's no me, no mine, no myself. When I'm within hearing range of people who talk noisily and endlessly, I'm careful not to be judgmental. With other anchor, free and easy, the mind is quickly brought back to the present moment. In unpleasant situations, my mind remains equanimous and mindful. And if the opposite party is unpleasant, I can understand his or her situation and am forgiving. After all, we are all products of our present causes and past conditions. Who knows what trauma and suffering he or she could have undergone to make him or her this way. I no longer have expectations nor worry about my children and close relatives. They understand karma, and if a misfortune were to befall them, there's always precious lessons to be learned from that. I have also let down my ego a great deal, and at every moment, the five aggregates are at work. Where is the I to be found in each of them? And the most remarkable thing I notice is that the mind can now have some rest. It does not tell stories endlessly to distraction, nor do I believe in the stories that they tell. For the mind now knows that all constructions are suffering. Sabbe sankhara dukkha. Now I live my life happily in quiet contentment. I don't dwell on the past, nor do I worry about the future. In happy or unhappy situations, I know they do not last. I do not cling to them. Anger and despair no longer plague my mind. For these reasons, I always encourage my loved ones to seek the truth. With a good teacher, they may soon find the precious gem in the three jewels. And for me, I'm always grateful to my past and present Dhamma teachers for having given me the opportunity to practice the Buddha's teachings. In retrospect, I'm also grateful to my in-laws for having been the catalyst that led to my search. Thank you.
Wow. How does it feel when the mind is so much at ease? Look at the way Sister Manwan was. So easeful, so happy, so true to herself. Is it really possible? Why not? And the most important question, very interesting question is it even possible to be mindful in action during hiking? Well, to answer that question, our next speaker, Brother Adrian Bay, who is a keen hiker and a keen practitioner of open mindfulness meditation, will share with us. Brother Bay, the floor is yours.
Okay, hi everyone. I think you can hear me. Adrian here. So I have been asked today to share a bit of the benefits I have gained from attending the Mindful Hiking Retreat. So, but to start off first, you see this background here? It's very nice, right? Just in case anyone was wondering, this was taken during this year's Malayao Basin Mindful Hiking Retreat in Sabah. So If you like nice sceneries, you can join us as well. But before we proceed a little further, a bit about myself. I've been joining Bante's mindful hiking retreat, in particular the youth one, since 2017. At that point in time, I guess the committee sort of sensed the enthusiasm that I had, and they asked me to join the committee. So I was actually part of the organizing team from 2018 until now. When I was asked to share about the benefits of this hiking retreat, I was really cracking my head because I really wanted to do this retreat justice. It's very close to my heart. It combines two things which I really like a lot. First thing is Dhamma, and second thing is hiking. So probably I decided we could go simple, go straight to the point, and because the retreat's name is really meaningful for me. So I'll talk about the benefits I've gained using the retreat's name. So mindful hiking retreat. So I'll firstly talk about mindful, second go on to hiking, then last retreat. So to starting off with mindful, the word mindful, of course we have to start with mindfulness, because how can we be on a mindful hiking retreat if we don't know what mindfulness is? So Bante always starts the retreat and sets the foundation by teaching this. So what is mindfulness? Of course, there is the common understanding, or more of misunderstanding, that mindfulness is just the present moment awareness, or being in the present, basically. So what is it actually? So Bante clears the air about what mindfulness is. He starts teaching us that sati is rooted in sarati, the Pali word. So sarati meaning to remember, and sati is noun, which is memory. So this connection is actually quite interesting because the mindfulness that we want to learn is actually really closely linked to memory. So to show the range of how what mindfulness should encompass, Bante has the 3 R's, which is remember, recollect, remind, and retrospect. Okay. Yeah, so Bante has the 4 R's: remember, recollect, remind, and retrospect. So the present moment awareness is encompassed only in the last R, the 4th R, which is retrospect. And why would being in the present be considered retrospecting? Interesting question, right? So for this one, I recommend you to come for the retreat on your own, because and find out, because I don't want to share the reasoning here, because for me personally, when I understood why, I felt like it was a breath of fresh air. So I don't want to take this experience, deprive you of this experience, so you can hear it firsthand from Bante. But then what about the other 3 R's, which is remember, recollect, and remind? In the context of Dhamma, we need to make an effort to remember the teachings firstly, then recollect the teachings to reinforce our memory and contemplate the meaning, then remind ourselves to put it into practice when the opportunity arises. So this actually connects very well even with worldly success. So when I was actually very much younger, I used to hear that mindfulness can help you in studies and in work. And I thought to myself, how does being mindful, last time being mindful means being in the present moment, how does being in the present moment help me do better in my exams? Would being in the present mean that when I read something once, or I listen to the teacher once, then I'll naturally remember the answer when I go for the exam? I don't think so, right? I mean, if I had to still rely on revision, then I can't say that being in the present is the key to doing well. So for me, it connected. Yes, mindfulness is, in order for mindfulness to be really practical and useful, whether in the worldly or spiritual perspective, it should be more than just being in the present moment. It needs to be more holistic. So like I said earlier, remember the Dhamma, recollect it, and remind ourselves to practice when the opportunity arises. So in the example of taking the exams just now, we need to go back. We not only need to pay attention to the lessons, we need to go back, do revision, do exercises, do homework. That's the remember, recollecting, and remind portion of mindfulness that we have actually left out from the understanding. So moving on. At night, Bante will generally give us a Dhamma talk. So, and of course, Bante knows that the time spent in retreat relative to our daily lives is actually really short. So how can we bring what we have learned in this short retreat back into the world so that it has like a noteworthy impact in our daily lives. So for that, Bhante actually provides us with Dhamma rhymes to accompany the teachings and help with the remember and recollecting aspect of the lessons that we have been taught. So when we actually return to our daily lives, the Dhamma rhymes become a source of Dhamma itself. Especially when we are out, probably we have no books with us, we want the gist of teachings, and probably we need instructions to instruct ourselves how to practice at that particular moment. So this teaching becomes sort of an anchor for our line of thought, and we can actually build our understanding when we recollect the Dhamma rhymes that we have learned during the retreat. An interesting story, I have a free thinker friend from office who was interested in meditation, and he liked hiking also. So I recommended this retreat to him very naturally. So after not meeting him for more than 2 years, the MCO period, after that we were at friends gathering and we were talking, and he told me he actually still remembers the Dhamma rhymes that we learned during the retreat. I feel that's quite fantastic. Then next, Bhante tells us what we want to do with mindfulness. Because in Buddhism, we don't develop mindfulness for the sake of developing mindfulness itself, right? So what is it for? Basically, we want to use the mindfulness that we have attained, developed, to catch feelings, thoughts, feelings, perceptions that arise in the mind. And when they are caught, we want to investigate the cause and conditions of those mental objects, and then see the three signs, which is anicca, dukkha, anatta. So basically, what does this mean? This means that we use the mindfulness to develop wisdom. So that is for the first word, mindfulness. The content was quite heavy, I think, but it's okay. It's getting lighter from here onwards, because yeah, it is heavy. It needs to be heavy because mindfulness is such an important thing, important thing in the path of our practice. So we need to really get this understanding straight first. But okay, moving on to the second word, which is hiking. Hiking is really great because it immediately gives us the chance to put into practice what Bhante has taught us. So in hiking, the path is generally like a mixture of uphill, downhill, or probably flat paths. So when going uphill or downhill, the terrain is actually challenging. So natural mindfulness occurs. And we want to, of course, when we walk, we want to make sure that the path is safe. We put our foot on a safe ground. We grab tree trunks that are healthy, that can support us, and we don't want to grab thorns that will prick us. We don't want to fall down or twist our foot in the forest. So the only concern of the mind is actually to stay in the present moment and face the current circumstances. We don't want to be stuck. It naturally won't be stuck in the past or future. So we won't be thinking about, oh, how nice it was yesterday. I got to meet this friend yesterday. What happened in the office yesterday? Or what I want to eat tomorrow? Or where I want to go for holiday? None of this will happen. You just stay in the present. And when on flatter terrain, what happens? This is probably when thoughts will arise. And that's when we use the mindfulness that we have developed to catch the thoughts and investigate them in terms of cause, conditions, anicca, dukkha, anatta. So that is why we do hiking. Then on to the third word, which is retreat. So there are two main rules for the retreat. First one is to keep noble silence. And second is to practice with either the guardian meditations or open mindfulness. So one thing I really like about noble silence is that when I stop speaking with my mouth, I hear my thoughts much, much clearer. And this is very interesting because you get to see the cause and conditions of the thoughts that arise in your mind. And the guardian meditations and open mindfulness is also a very nice way of keeping the mind grounded and occupied. Another thing that I read that for me about retreat is the 8 precepts. So for those who haven't experienced it before, this is a really great place to start. I have seen people with, of course, the general main concern is not eating after noon. So I have seen people with these concerns. They probably have gastric issue. They'll call me and say, "Oh, I got gastric issue. Can I bring food or not? Can I not follow this? Can I probably bring some food?" Then I said, okay lah, can lah. Probably you just bring it up, but try not to eat lah. But so a lot of them, actually almost all of them, have brought emergency food up to SBS. In the end of the retreat, they end up not eating it. Probably it's because everybody also is not eating it. That's why probably it's the energy of everybody together, or the spirit of everybody not eating together. So at the end of the day, they end up bringing all the food back down the hill after the retreat. So that's quite interesting. And then for me also, one thing is nice about the 8 precepts is it's very conducive for me for the practice, because my mind becomes very clear, and when living a simple lifestyle, it leaves very little to be concerned for. A lot of the bells and whistles actually get cut off. So so the 8 precepts during this retreat is also very interesting, because it shows how the 8 precepts can be practiced on a daily basis, and not only in an environment where there is limited physical activity. So in May this year, I actually joined Bante on a 10-day hiking retreat, about a 10-day hiking retreat, more or less 10 days. And every day we hiked for about 5 hours, some days even more than 5 hours. So all of this was on foot before 1 o'clock. At the end of the retreat, I actually felt much more energetic before going in. So I invite you all to try. That is all for the third word, which is retreat. Altogether, what I have said here throughout these few minutes, they are basically the tip of the tip of the iceberg. There are many more benefits to be gained from this retreat. So I actually really encourage all of you to come and join and experience, and also not come once only, but to come again, because practice is a gradual one, and we improve every time we come. So on that note, we will be having the next mindful hiking retreat in November. Here's the poster, and the details are at the bottom here, so you can take a screenshot if you want to sign up. Of course, I have a caveat here that the retreat is not the answer to all the problems in your life, but it definitely gives us a lot of insight and tips to handle and manage life better. So before I go, I would like to say a big thank you and sadhu to Bante for dedicating so much of your time and effort to the retreats and giving this opportunity to me to share my experience with everyone today.
What Brother Adrian Bay has told us just now is very interesting. That it gave me a new notion of meditation. Sitting cross-legged, closed eyes, walking slowly. That was my understanding for many years, and that's how I practiced for many years, until I start practicing open mindfulness myself. So for those of us who want to participate and practice. Hold on, sorry, let me show this. For those of us who are ready to practice and want to know more about the benefits of retreats conducted by Bante Agachita, we are ready. What you can see on the screen are all the upcoming events that are available now for the next few months. So do register early, because these events have been open for registration for the last 2 weeks. And I have been receiving, let me say, okay, I don't want to sound too, anyway, just to be truthful, every retreat now have a lot of people signing up. The first one is the Hokkien meditation retreat. So if you understand Hokkien, please come to join this retreat. Why? Because Bante, you'll be talking about mindfulness, Buddha Nusati, Metta in this retreat. This will be held at SBS, of course. The one I'm showing now are all to be held in SBS. The next one is what Brother Adrian B has just shared with you just now, the mindful hiking retreat. The terrain at SBS is very interesting. Brother Adrian can attest to that. So we welcome you to join. How to build up the mindfulness, composure, metta at the same time as you walk on the hills, crossing the rivers. December is another signature program. This is conducted by Bhante Gutta Chitta, Anapanasati and Rejuvenation Retreat. In this retreat, Bhante Gutta will be combining Anapanasati, healthy eating, physical movement through Jinggang Gong and Changshou Gong is a kind of a variant of Qigong, and 2 days of fasting within these 2 weeks. Very interesting. We now have about 60% full already, so please hurry up. For the year 2023, moving very fast, entering the Stream Workshop. This is a new Dhamma tour by Bhante Agachita. He'll be going to different centers in Malaysia. For SBS, you'll be held on 11 and 12 of March, just 2 days of workshop. Now, you may think, oh no, I'm coming to SBS just for 2 days. No, that's not the idea. The idea here is you come much earlier before 11 or 12, and then have your personal retreat, and then attend the workshop and continue with more retreat, because the place is always ready for you. Yeah. Now, if all this program is not suitable for you because you cannot take your leave on those days, come for your self-retreat as what we have shared earlier, and your guided retreat. Now, for the guided retreat for 2022 is in November and December. October, we are quite full already with Katina and 3 retreats. So come in November and December for your guided retreat. These are the dates for guided retreats. So if you wish, you can take a snapshot of this page. Otherwise, you can go to our website, it's all there. This is another important page. Brothers and sisters, if you can, I invite you to take a screenshot of this page. This is how you can contact us or find more information. At the end of today's session, I would really encourage everyone to send us a blank email. Yes, just an email blank. Email it to news+subscribe@sāsanārakkha.groups.io. Why? Because with this subscription, you can receive the latest update from SBS on your email. If you wish to receive latest update on WhatsApp, you can join the WhatsApp chat group that I will share with you through BGF. 16 October is an auspicious date. Brothers and sisters, do join us for this year's Katina at SBS. Our Katina will start early, but I'm sure you can make it. Taiping is a very nice place for you to come 1 day earlier for your holidays. And on the 16th October, come to join SBS Katina. Do come early. If you arrive before 7:30, you can park your car at the Greeneries Memorial. Please take a screenshot of this page as well. The QR code are all there. You actually you link you to the Google Map directly. For those of you who have been inquiring about donation and partake in the Katina, offering of the Katina cloth and the Katina itself, this is the banking information as well as QR code. Be part of this year's Katina, brothers and sisters. We look forward to welcoming you to SBS again and again, not just the Katina, but for all our retreats and programs. We would like to thank BGF, Brother Ang. You have done a wonderful job helping us with the videos. Sister Susira, Sister Ruchira, Brother Chiseng. Thank you to Bhante Agachita, Sister Manwan, Brother Adrian Bay for your insightful sharing.